Well, let's see. I think it says we're live. I think we're live. Are we live? It says we are. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? So good to see everyone. As Nina the Mystic would say, it's Happy Hump Day, and I hope you're having a good one wherever you may be. And welcome, everybody, as we just speak favor over everyone. Nothing missing, nothing broken. You know, confession brings possession. It's just the way it is. Um, and that door swings both ways. So, hello, all you. I'm just reading this as it's going by. All the moderators, and thank you for the fabulous job y'all are doing. And welcome to Soul Tribe members, everyone. Hello, Bernadette and Cheesesteak. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Tony, how you doing? Kent, hello, my friend. Don, good to see you. Al, Big Al, how are you, my friend? Much favor to you. Robert V, hello. David Castle, Lost in Space. Faithy, hello. Haven't seen you before. Welcome. And David Barry, thank you for everything you're doing. You know, there is a online 24-hour chat that goes on, and it's with my channel and everyone else that's out there in the tribe. You know, Brian's and David's and the rest of y'all. So check it out. Twisted Isby, how you doing? Calvin, good to see ya. Dream Weaver. You know, I saw Gary Wright, 1973. Great concert, by the way. Played with Yes. He opened up for Yes. Anyway, I digress. We're going to have a fun day today. One thing I will, suggest, I don't know if you have one of these. It is meditation beats. Yeah. Helps you when, if you want to get yourself really focused. You'll be surprised how something as simple as this can actually work. So think about it, and might want to get yourself or make yourself some. So yeah, wanted dead and alive. Schrodinger's cat. Exactly. It's the reality that we live in. It all depends on what perspective view you take a look at. Yeah, it's different. No doubt about it. Was meditating on the card. Come on. Does anyone know and understand? Someone says Suge Knight. There is Suge Knight all around in this office. It's amazing stuff. You know how the cards work, right? There's 3 different ways that it can work. Yeah, I just saw something go through. So I saw one person. Robert V. Yep, you got it. So understand the system. You have, again, circle counts for 1 or yellow, gold. Cross counts for 2 or red. 3 wavy lines, blue, 3 or wavy lines. Black square, 4, and then green star, 5. So some of us are better at numbers, seeing numbers. Some of us are better at seeing colors. Some of us are good at seeing geometrical shapes. And then some of us are just good, and you can get all 3 of them. But yeah, so there you go. Well worth it. Get yourself a set of these, or if you get a playing deck of cards and start exercising. I can't emphasize that enough. Start exercising. It's like anything else. You can't expect to have really well-shaped abs if you never did a sit-up or a crunch. You know? Just, it doesn't happen that way. So anyway, we got lots to cover. All right, so lots of people have been asking different books, what we're particularly using in this study. A Curious Future. This is really a good book. I mean, this is by Kiki Dombrowski, and it's one of those that you just want to have in your reference. Another one that I am really getting into, and I have to say, I kind of really resonate with the way that this guy writes, Jason Miller, The Sorcerer's Secret Strategies in Practical Magic. Good book. And then, of course, the textbook that we're using is the Grimoire for the Apprentice Wizard. So, and if we stop and look in our lives, it's amazing how so many of us have been on a path, a very magical path. I think that, I don't know, I think the search for true magic is probably one of the most awesome journeys that a human soul can take. Magic has been devoided in our lives in all so many different ways. And then it's been cast into almost the mockery, the fool. No one actually believes in this, but yet the very ones that teach that are the very ones that use the same rituals to keep control over their congregation, believers, however you want to phrase it. And that is the duality here. Magic exists. It was here, I think, before man was. And ever how many millions of years it goes back, the shamans knew. They were the intermediaries between the physical, the spiritual, the ether. It wasn't until right about the late 19th century, science and what we would call the pursuit of the occult, the ether, was right on track. Everything was, when Einstein came along, he changed the paradigm. And because he could not wrap his head around the ether, couldn't define it, he said he couldn't figure out any mathematical model that would actually address it. And so in his mind, it didn't exist. And thus, mankind's consciousness shifted away from what I contend was the true magic. I think that it's coming back. Dr. Richard Miller said this a number of years ago. The only frontier, the only new plateau, the new undiscovered territory for science, for physics, is magic. And when that happens, I think we're going to see an explosion of enlightenment hit our species. So, everyone's been asking, and I'll show this to you. I put this together a couple of years ago, had some help from right here in the community, and we really firmed it up. And if you want to look for a sign in your life, have you ever created your own invocation, your own spell? I did mine here. It works. I have lots of testimonies. This works. It's powerful. So if you have ever found yourself or can remember ever writing an invocation, a spell, then you are truly a wizard, a witch. And it doesn't have to have, again, that negative connotation to it. I'm going to be doing this one when I get the exact time on the new moon. This is one that if you want changes in your life, like almost immediately, this is one I would send to you. I go through this and I just kind of tell you exactly what you need everything you need to prepare, how you, if you're like, for instance, if you're doing a money invocation, you will need to have something that is directly connected to you, such as a checkbook, bank statement, gold, silver, paper money. And I want to emphasize this. You must have a picture of yourself. If you're doing this for someone else, and you can literally stand in as a proxy, even if that person is unaware. Have the picture right there. I have a crystal chalice that I use, and it's either Lynn or myself, whoever, even enemies, I've put them in there. You'd be surprised if you have litigation in your life. You'd be surprised. This one is powerful. It works. That's all I can tell you. It works. The one thing I will tell you that has such an immediate effect is that if you're doing a simple favor invocation over an individual, a family, it could be a financial situation, a business situation, a relationship. This one has, it produces such a positive attractiveness that the spirits themselves are attracted to this. And it's amazing what happens when you put this in the middle. So, I discuss here 3 steps in smudging your room, the room, getting it cleansed. Very important. Don't do this in a room that's had a lot of anger spoken in it, angry words. Cleanse it. You should be doing that already. Anyway, gives you step by step. It then prepares you for this. I don't know if you have a sacred ceremonial robe. You should. This is one where it would come in. I will tell you, this one does require that you be naked. And the reason why being naked inside the circle that you will actually build is because this is how you came into this realm. And it's how you're going to be leaving this realm. But anyway, it teaches you how to cleanse the body. It actually goes through the whole process here. And once you get yourself in the right state of consciousness, you can go in and it tells you. I think I actually did a video on this. So think about it. It works, and it's one that I'd highly recommend. If you're needing change in your life, this is one that really will bring change. And the thing about favor is, I say it's even above the construct of love. Love has so many moving parts in it. It's really determines on a person's state of consciousness, state of mind. Whereas favor is favor. Favor to you, Regina. Favor to you, Terry Brown. Favor to you, Burning Ego, you see? Now, I can't say, hey, love you, Regina. People are going to go, what? But if I say, hey, favor to you, you see? It's one that just, it kind of makes you want to put a little skip in your step, doesn't it? All right, so one other one, someone was wanting some information on, here we go. Let me get this, on spells. These are some ones that I have looked around and found. It's, they're quite interesting. If you have low on energy, this one here is one that does work. Some of these I actually had to translate because they were in the old English. For instance, the dragon wisdom. Say this spell with visualizing wisdom coming to you. Silver dragon of war, wire, it's war. Bring me to you. Take me there. Show me sights of things unseen. Take me where your heart has been. Impart to me what I must know. Unto me your wisdom, please bestow. All spells have a rhyme. You know that. I don't know why that is, but it is. Maybe someone out there does. Anyway, if you want to have a fun day, we have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All these days have, burdens to them. So which day is your fun day? We all need a fun day. I mean, if you have to go through 7 days, why can't we have a fun day? So think about it. Whatever. And the point is to all this is that these are the type of spells that we all can do. There's nothing mysterious about it. Again, it's faith, folks. Without faith, you can do nothing. Faith is the number one ingredient in magic. Faith is the number one ingredient in religion. Faith's the number one ingredient in love relationships. Without faith, you have nothing. So you have it. It's naturally a part of us. The more you exercise faith, the better you get at it. I mean, can you manifest food? There's a spell right there that actually teaches you how to manifest food. We still haven't left it. We'll be going back, but the masters of the Far East, the reason why they never worry about substance is that they know it's all around. As Trina and I were talking yesterday, is consciousness matter? Is consciousness substantive? We struggle to define consciousness. It's complex. It's mysterious. It's magical. But the amazing thing about consciousness is that what it can do. Read some of the comments. Young child picking up a manhole. I mean, actually, I think he was saying when he was a child, didn't know how he could do it. There's all sorts of things. So, practice. Let's see. I think I got one more. This is a pretty good read for all that struggle from getting out of organized religion. When you do a study, you don't even have to do a deep study, a cursory study, you will begin to realize very quickly what happened. It's like being a victim of 3-card Monte game. You know exactly where that ace of spades was. You watched it. And damn it, if they didn't go and change the card. This is what Christianity, Islam, Hindu, all these religions, all use ceremonial, ritual magic. It's just a matter of your perspective of how you see things. But once you see it from the view looking down, you realize that all you have to do is change the noun, and you've shown who the clown truly is. And so this is a really good one. Encourage you to get it. It's well worth the read because, again, it will show you those who started Christianity realized that they had a problem. They had a big problem because of all the Gnostic similarity of belief systems. The one that was spreading the fastest was the one that had magic in it. Remember, the Christian God is a made-up God because it's actually the third one. They tried a couple of others before this one, and it didn't work. Why? Because the Gnostics, they knew that it wasn't limited to a singularity. Anyway, you'll see how, and you can go back and you can look at all of this. Why is it that in the story they tell you wise man, but they change the word and it is magician that visited the Christ child? And what did the magicians bring? The elements that you need in magical ceremonial magic: frankincense, myrrh, gold. Been right there in front of us. So anyway, be more than happy to share it with you. And of course, if you want the favor invocation, I'll send that to you as well. Folks, the way I see this, and this is just my perspective, the world's in deep shit. And things are happening very, very quickly here. They've gotten out of control, to be quite frankly. I was meditating last night and was awakened, and folks, it's getting out of control. There is a principle of physics at work here, and this is the inertia. Once something gains a certain momentum and inertia begins to back it, to change it, you have to have an equally as strong of an opposing force in order just to stop it. You have to be overcompensated in inertia to overcome it or overcompensate it. And this is what's happened. And that's why it's important that I think this Saturday, whatever your intent is, let's just hope it's intent of peace, intent of calmness. I'm going to be doing favor. You know, I have pictures that I'm bringing in of all these cities and all the chaos, and that will be the center of the focus on this. So, all right, let's get into the reading, shall we? I love this book. This book is so well written. Buy it. It's on Amazon, probably virtually any other place where you buy your reading material. Buy it. You want to have this book. I don't have it in PDF because this is one that you want to have it physically if you can. And it's one I am recommending that it be in your library, should be in your tool. All right, course 1, Wizardry. Concerning wizards. Let's all have a drink. I toast all wizards, witches, seers, astrologers, numerologists, palmstists, all within the family. Cheers. A wizard can turn fear into joy, frustration to fulfillment. A wizard can turn the time-bound into the timeless. A wizard can carry you beyond limitations into the boundless. Deepak Chopra. Who'd have thought? The way of the wizard. It's been right there in front of us. Introduction. What is a wizard? In the 16th and 17th centuries, the height of popularity of the village magician, it applied to a high magician, but also to various popular magicians who were known by other names as well. Cunning men, cunning women, charmers, blessers, sorcerers, conjurers, and witches. After 1825, wizards became almost exclusively synonymous with witch, but this usage died out during the 20th century. Modern witches did not use the term. This is from Rosemary Gully's Encyclopedia of Witches and Witchcraft. And what I really like, if you're a book collector and you're in the position where you begin to do that, you'll have a whole library at the end of this course. Here is how the word wizard is defined in the dictionary. Wizard, from the Anglo-Saxon wizard, a wise one. Oh, wise guy. No, usually a solitary practitioner of magic and repository of arcane knowledge, a lore master, a sage, a magician, conjurer, sorcerer, a person exceptionally gifted or clever at a specified activity, as in computer wizard. Yes, we call them computer wizards. Why? Because they really are into the magic, folks. Think about all the spells that these computer wizards have cast that have impacted all of us. Usually, but not necessarily, a specifically masculine term, wizards have also been referred to as natural philosophers. Someone just tapped me on my back. In traditional tribal cultures, we find shamans or medicine men and women who are both gifted and learned in talents and skills of augury, foretelling the future, herbalism, hypnosis, psychic work, and sorcery. They are the village teachers, magicians, spirit guides, healers, and midwives. Among some of the Celtic tribes of Western Europe, such shamans were known as wicki, an Anglo-Saxon word meaning shaper, from which comes our present term witch. In Renaissance days, men practicing witchcraft were more often called wizards. The term wizard first appeared in the 15th century and was used for both wise men and wise women. In the 20th century, most people only knew of wizards from stories and fairy tales. The most famous of these were J.R.R. Tolkien's The Ring, The Lord of the Rings, featuring Gandalf the Wizard, Mary Stuart's The Crystal Cave, great book, and other books about Merlin. Indeed, during those years, many people had forgot that wizards had ever really existed at all. But a few of us still remained, although largely in remote areas hidden from public view. They had to. And I want to stop here. I want to insert something. Something about those of you who may have children, grandchildren who are going to have children. Something that we forgot in the Western culture is the naming exercise of when a baby comes in. Unfortunately, we are so sterilized in the way that it comes in, a new soul. In the olden days, part of the midwife's job and that of the wizard, the magician, however you want to call it, was the fact that when that soul came in physically, there were words spoken over him, he or she. What I would call a path of destiny was set. Today, we don't do that. It's why most people are lost. They don't understand their purpose, their reason for being here. So, and then I have not found a way that you can actually duplicate it, regrettably. That's why I think to become an initiate, to be initiated into the craft can help that, because you're going to learn each of us must have our own secret magic name. I have mine in my little book, and it's if you don't have one, we'll help you get one. In the ways that Gully noted, wizards in recent centuries seem to have served pretty much as male counterparts to the village witch, as she is commonly described in modern practitioners of the craft. A magical shaper of reality, a shaman of pre-Christian European tradition. A shaper. Think about that, folks. I'm speaking to many of you who have the opportunity to be a part of seeing new souls come in here. You have the ability to educate those parents of the importance of what it really means to shape that new soul's destiny. A magical shaper of reality. In medieval and Renaissance times, witches specialized in herbalism and midwifery and were mostly women. Modern witches may be both men and women, and their workings today are directed primarily towards healing people, both of people and earth. I was out this morning, did some sun worshiping, really did. Went out and worshiping, I guess is not the right word. It was an adoration, praise. I think that would be synonymous with almost kind of worship, but just a whole attitude of gratitude, speaking to the four elements, speaking favor to them. You should as well. Just saying. Yeah, people say, okay, well, sure. Let me hide that. There we go. Virtually every village or town in Britain and Europe had at least one wizard, who usually was respected and feared by the local folk. The wizard specialized in a variety of magical services, such as fortune telling, finding missing persons and objects, finding hidden treasure, curing illness in people and animals, interpreting dreams, detecting theft, exorcising ghosts and fairies, casting spells, breaking the spells of witches and fairies, making amulets, charms, and making love potions. Because he was deemed the diviner of guilty and crimes, the word of the wizard often carried great weight in a village or town. Our authors, let's say biography here. Lesson 2, my life as a wizard. Now, I have lived about as rurally as it's possible to get. Having spent 8 years, 1977 to 1985, living in a 5,600-acre homesteading community in the misty mountains of Northern California. My lifelong mate, Morning Glory, and I moved into, I love that name, moved into a completely undeveloped wilderness where we built our own houses and barns, developed our springs, planted gardens and orchards, dug a pond, raised livestock, all without electricity, telephones, television, or even radio. I would say that these two are the real deal. During that time, I served my community in the traditional capacity of rural wizard, pretty much as Rosemary Gully described above. I created and conducted rituals of all kinds, from individuals, divinations, readings, initiations, hand fastings, marriage, I love that, hand fastings, baby blessings, healing, house blessings, protection, and exorcisms, to large seasonal rituals for the entire community of about 100 families, and even larger public events in the nearby town of Ukiah. I also taught in a little community school and mentored a number of the kids as they grew up. Now that's a wizard, folks. Don't think I could ever grow the beard, though. But our real work from 1979 to 1984 was raising unicorns. I kid you not. And when we traveled around the country exhibiting our living unicorns, our natural scene was Renaissance fairies, where my appropriately costumed persona character was that of a wizard, as Morning Glory was an enchantress. When we did interviews for TV, magazines, and newspapers that were not associated with the fairies, we presented ourselves as naturalists, which seemed pretty much the mundane equivalent. What was it that drew me to wizardry was a way of life and encouraged me to choose a title that hardly anyone used in these modern times. Simply put, it's the mythology of it all. My favorite mythological reference comes from fantasy and science fiction literature, as well as classical mythology, such as authors of J.J.R. Tolkien, Mary Stewart, Marion Zimmer Bradley, Urella Le Guin, Peter Biggle, and T.H. White have deeply infused my concepts of what a wizard is with their depictions of the likes of Merlin and Gandalf, with whom I immediately identified upon reading those tales. But for me, the greatest appeal of both the historical and mythological wizards with whom I identify is that they were engaged in shaping the greater paradigm of the society around them. Wizards, let's face it, are natural born meddlers, alchemists, inventors, kingmakers, prophets, seers, spellcasters, lore masters, teachers, initiators, magicians, visionaries. Wizards are perpetually engaged in world transformation, trying to make the world a better place for everyone. This is the great work. Wizards do not think small, and wizards know that the best way to predict the future is to create it. So, in the tradition of all the wizards who have gone before me, my wizardly great work has been that of transforming and guiding the society in which I find myself into a new phase of social, cultural, and conceptual evolution. Virtually everything I have done in my life has been towards this end, including this grimoire. Lesson 3. Between the worlds of magic and mundane. Wizards have also impressed with their intense beliefs in several levels of reality. That of the ordinary world, the extraordinary world of fairies, elves, and other spirit entities, and hierarchy of angels, and the realm of the higher being. Many wizards have attempted to rise above earthly concerns and focus on spiritual worlds, forging links between the world of the living and that of the dead. Angels and the fairy folk are also believed to be the allies of various wizards. Communication with beings from another dimension has been taken seriously and studied in depth. Anton and Mina Adams, in their book, The World of Wizards. One of the most basic understandings of wizardry is that we live not just in a universe, but in a multiverse of many worlds. Now, a world is not merely the same thing as a planet, though planets are also referred to as worlds, especially those that may be inhabited. But a world can be any realm or state of existence that we may inhabit or even imagine. We may speak geographically of the old world, usually meaning Europe, or the new world, the Americas. Or we may divide societies into those of the Western world, Western Europe, North America, and Australia, or the Eastern world, Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Asia. Politically, nations today are seen as belonging to the free world, the communist world, which used to be much bigger during the Cold War, or the third world. We may even talk historically of ancient world, or the modern world, or even the world of tomorrow. But there is also the world of music, the world of art, the wide world of sports. There is the world of science, the world of computers, and the animal world. There are literally worlds, such as the world of Middle Earth, or the world of Harry Potter. And there are worlds of the imagination, the worlds of myth, the worlds of dreams, the worlds of magic. It is these worlds in particular that are frequented and inhabited by wizards, witches, magicians, and other magical folk, as well as elves, dragons, unicorns, fairies, gods, and spirits. This grimoire you are holding will be your guide to the worlds of magic. The wonderful Harry Potter books of J.K. Rowling presented a mythos, that is, a foundation story that says, beyond the borders of the mundane, the Muggle, as she calls it, the Muggle world, there is another world, a world full of magic and magical people. This is the world of very different rules and principles, where imagination, hope, dreams, and love have real power to change and transform. And the thing is, as everyone who reads these books secretly hopes and suspects, this is true. This is my world. And if you wish to make it so, it can be yours. I use the word mundane just now to distinguish the ordinary, everyday, so-called normal world from the world of magic. We call that world mundania. And the people who live only in that world and know no other, we sometimes call mundanes or the mundies. These words are not intended to be taken as insults, nor should they be used in that way. It is only a way of acknowledging that there are indeed different worlds. There is no single name for the world of magic. It has been called many names by many peoples. Mostly magical folk just refer to specific places, such as a particular magical gathering place, sanctuary, retreat center, forest, mountain, canyon, stone circle, and so on. Such places are often said to be between the worlds. Therefore, magical folks, such as wizards, witches, and shamans, are also known as walkers between the worlds. For we are at home in any world and frequently travel between them in pursuit of our work and mission. Our universe is embedded in an infinitely larger and more complex structure called the multiverse, which, as a good approximation, can be regarded as an ever multiplying mass of parallel universes. Every time there is an event at the quantum level, a radioactive atom decaying, for example, or a particle of light impinging on your retina, the universe is supposed to split or differentiate into different universes. Roger Highfield, The Science of Harry Potter. Glossary, Wizards and Witches and Mages. Oh my. Now would probably be a good time to explain some of the different kinds of magical folks. These terms can be confusing to the unfamiliar, so here is a brief little glossary. Also, one essential companion to this Gilmore must be a good dictionary. I recommend that you get a dictionary of the older English. I've shown you this before. This is a little hard read. I'll be candid with you, but again, it's from, 1584. It has some very choice nuggets. An important thing to understand here is that these categories are not mutually exclusive, and any given individual may embody a number of them. Indeed, a capable wizard may be known by most of all these terms. The primary distinction between wizards and sorcerers is around the issue of service. Wizards desire above all else to be of service. whereas sorcerers desire above all else to be served. Wizards, like Gandalf, bend all their efforts and magic towards making the world a better place for everyone and for future generations. Sorcerers, like Sauron or Saruman, bend all their efforts and magic towards the singular goal of ruling the world, conquering, subduing, controlling, and even enslaving everyone else. Wow. I want to be no sorcerer. I have no desire to rule the world. Hello, Tears for Fears. Anyway, obviously, these desires and goals are diametrically opposed, diametrically opposed. Fortunately for all of us, the very nature of these distinctions supports the ultimate good as wizards cooperate and work with others, while sorcerers are in ultimate competition, especially with each other. They do not trust anyone, cannot be trusted by anyone, and in general do not play well with others. As Gandalf said of Saruman, there is only one Lord of the Rings, and he does not share power. Wizard. This is again from the Anglo-Saxon word wizard, wise one. A wizard is a lore master, especially of the arcane, that is, the lost or secret knowledge. Hence, popular usage of the word computer wizard. A wizard is also a magical practitioner. However, the word is rarely used today to describe a practitioner of Wicca or witchcraft, or a member of any particular faith. Indeed, most, but not all, wizards tend to be solitary, though they may belong to a wizardly council or order. And the most famous wizard of history was Merlin. While the vast majority of wizards throughout history have been men, there have been a few women wizards as well, such as Mary, the Jewish, and Hypatinith of Alexandria. Visor. This title comes from Arabic, meaning bearer of burdens, and was given to the chief minister and advisor under the king. The most famous visor of ancient Egypt was Imhotep, yes, the mummy, who was the visor of Pharaoh Djoser and the world's first known wizard. The title often became synonymous with court wizard, especially when a visor was also renowned for his wizardry, such as Imhotep or Merlin. The mage. This term is often used as a synonym for wizard, especially in a complimentary sense. A mage may also be called a magus, which means a master of the magical arts. Ancient magi, like the three wise men in the Bible, were Zoroastrian priests originating in Media and Persia, now Iran. The Persian word magu is the root of the word magic. This term became magos in Greek and later magus in Latin, eventually coming to be used for wise and powerful magicians of any sort. I love this. Sage is an elderly person of sound judgment who has achieved wisdom through reflection and experience. The term is used for a savant, an expert, a scholar, a learned philosopher or teacher, such as Lao Tzu, or Socrates. Socraticity means wisdom, and wise counsel is called sage advice. Although sages are usually considered to be men, sage, saga was a common Latin term for the sorceress in the Middle Ages, and some wise women today identify themselves as sages. This thing of the sexes, I mean, you can always see, and we're going to get later in the history of what women went through. I mean, I'm just going to say this right now. Women, the feminine, they have suffered more persecution than any male could ever appreciate or understand. We're always shooting ourselves in the foot. Homo sapiens. Mystic. A mystic from the Greek mystai means someone who has been initiated into secret mysteries, is a person who is profound spiritually or otherworldly experiences have given them a deep intuitive comprehension or vision of hidden truths and awareness. Such experiences are usually indescribable and therefore beyond rational human understanding and explanation. Some of us have been there, done that, know that. Druid. The Druids were the priest class, the highly trained intellectual elite of the Celtic tribes. They included both men and women. The Bard. An ancient Celtic tradition, bards were part of the orders that were headed by the Druids. Bards were the poets, the musicians, the singers of epic songs and tales that conveyed the history and lore of the people. At a time when very little was written down, a bard was expected to memorize enormous amounts of poetry, songs, and stories. Magician, simply any practitioner of the magical arts. There are performance magicians who create seemingly impossible illusions and feats with the sleight of hand, what we call prestigation and special effects. There are the ceremonial magicians who create elaborate rituals designed to alter and transform the consciousness of themselves and others. I always think about, people like David Copperfield. If you ever saw him, I did a number of times, Sigby and Roy. I mean, I was there when Copperfield did the thing with the 747. I still don't know how that guy, I have no idea I did it. And I was pretty close up there. I mean, I was watching for that. Nope. Yeah. Alchemist. Alchemy was the forerunner of modern chemistry, blending Egyptian metallurgy with Greek philosophy and Middle Eastern mysticism. The goals of alchemists were to discovery of the philosopher's stone that would transform base metals into gold and the elixir of life that would heal all ills and allow one to live forever. I still question this thing about living forever. I think that as I have come to see it, there is so much more beyond this. And to simply say I want to live forever in this realm, I'm just going to say no, no, no. Sorcerer, sorceress, sorcery implies some sort of supernatural power over people and their affairs. People who wield such magical charms or influence are called sorcerers or sorceresses in the case of women. This term has a generally negative connotation, implying evil or black magic. The most famous sorceress of legend was Circe, Homer's Odyssey, and she turned Odysseus' men into pigs. And I just want to make a comment on here. I tell you, the day before, there are many in the religion, the organized religions. Yeah, they are sorcerers. Enchantress, enchanter. Unlike sorcery, enchantment has a very positive connotation. Enchantress are bewitching, fascinating, charming, sexy women whose magic brings delight and pleasure to others. We all have met them. Yes. The word is often used as a compliment for particularly attractive and charismatic witches and gypsies. A man who embodies those characteristics may be known as an enchanter, though this term is rarely used for men. Soothsayer, literally truth sayer, an old word for prophets, visionaries, seers, and fortune tellers. The word could be used for anyone who predicts the future. In another word meaning the same thing is mantis, diviner, as in insect known as praying mantis. The many techniques of divination are called the Magick arts, and practitioners are called mancers. Seer. This term dates from the 14th century and means one who sees. A seer is a person credited with extraordinary moral and spiritual insight who predicts events or developments. The term may be used for anyone who practices divination, magical techniques for finding lost information or predicting the future, especially by concentrating on a glass or crystal globe, scrying, or other word for seers are sibyls or oracles. Necromancer, someone who conjures up the spirits of the dead to speak with them and learn hidden knowledge and secret information and to foretell the future. Today, people who do this are usually called mediums or channels. Necromancy is a form of divination. Okay, I think we're going to break off rot there. This is good. At least what we do know is that we're getting some basic fundamental information. And I like this. Something we all can relate to as we continue. It's kind of like sometimes, when you use a word that, someone who isn't familiar with the vernacular or the region will look at you and go, don't know what you're talking about, mate. I have no idea. I know I recently had a conversation with someone from Australia and it was funny. It was really cool. All right. I'm hoping that the conversation in the chat room has been good. I don't know. I can't see the chat room when I'm reading, but we'll pick up on this tomorrow. I tell you folks, as we get in more into this, the exercises that are coming up are freaking phenomenal. I've been practicing some myself. They are interesting. I'm waiting for some material to arrive. I'm going to be making my own magic circle that I can actually fold up like a sheet. And, drawing them out, I enjoy. But today it was told to me that we should all draw our magic circles, get a sheet, and have someone help you if you need to, and make sure that it's a double circle and leave the in-between blank. And then you can, when you are ready to conduct a spell or an invocation, you can adorn it with your own particular sigils. I recommend you draw them out, keep them, and then depending on what it is that you're going to be doing, those sigils are very, very powerful. They can open portals. And yeah, so we're going to be finding out. Thank you, Dreamweaver. Yeah, this is going to be, I'm going to tell you, it's probably going to be 30, 40 sessions, but I'm going to tell you folks, and we'll break it up, but stick with me on this. Buy the book, get the book. You need this in your library, and so you can read along. But as we get to this, folks, my goal here is to eventually do this in a group setting. We'll have to do it virtually, but that doesn't matter. The thing about being a true wizard is understanding that we exist in the multiverse. We exist in many places at the same time. And I believe that we'll be able to actually conduct spells together and begin to really change the world. I mean, what they're doing right now is not working. That's for sure. We need something new. We need something innovative. We need something that has been purposely taken away from us. And we now know why, because those who took it away from us are been the ones in the power structure. We can take down the New World Order literally. Now they're going to put up a fight. But when the attack happens, and that's my goal, we will attack them. And there are many others like me talking. And sometimes you have to fight a war. But this is the training. You see, they've kept us divided. They kept us segregated. They kept us divided by race, religion, sex, all the other things. Because they knew that if a new breed of wizards came forth and began to rile the masses, that when we come, because you can't attack these people physically. You can't attack them in any way. The way that this is going to be done is going to be done in the ether. It's going to be done in the astral plane. And right now, we don't have enough to form an army. We've got a lot of powerful individuals. We could do a platoon, but we need an army. And when we do, and we take them down, I believe that that will be a change for all of humanity. That's right, Burning Eagle. They've been attacking us. That's the problem. And it's time we can say, enough. I'm not going to get mad at people. I'm not going to talk about people. No, what I'm going to do is speak favor. I may not agree with that, but you know what? I speak favor to you. Now, if you happen to be a practitioner of Magick, then you and I have a commonality. And we can work together. And folks, hear me out on this. We can develop our own incantation. This community, this tribe, together, with all the energies combined to produce an invocation, an incantation that will send the first shockwave out. I hope others would join us. And as we continue to learn and grow, they will grow. It's just like the favor invocation. Folks, I hope you get that and print it out. And I'll just say this. If you've never done a spell, if you've never done a ritual, if you've never conducted your own magic in your own circle, it's going to feel weird the first time. It is. It's just the way it is. Particularly if you have a problem with nudity. Yeah, I'm just going to, there's people that do. But it's the most powerful kind because there's nothing hidden in the spirit realm. And your clothes, believe it or not, collect energy. They do. And that's why there's a whole cleansing ritual that you have to. I did that in February, the cleansing. Brother, I'm going to tell you what, that was cold. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, good. The Princess Funk. Hey, I love the name. I love it. Hey, Spirit Girl, San Francisco. How you doing, my dear? So that's the goal. That's the objective. And we will do this, folks. We will. And we're going to learn all together. We're going to learn the basics together. By learning the basics together, we are like a graduating class. We all have individual paths, but we collectively went through the course together. We now have a bond. We now have something that ties us together. And when that expands out to one day where we can fill the stadiums, where there's millions of us coming together, where we've denounced the religions of the world and we have brought forth the fact that we recognize that there are forces beyond us that want to help us, that we can change this world into a world of peace, where we can begin to teach psychokinetics, we can begin to teach telekinetics, we can begin to teach the aspects of humanity and make this their nirvana that it is supposed to be. An enlightened species that as the travelers in the astral plane come across Earth, they see that the aura of Earth has changed. And that's what we're going to do, folks. We're going to change. The aura around Earth right now is sick. It's sick. We've done that. Psychically, Homo sapiens have done this. And Earth, we don't want her to react on her own. It'd be far better to work as an ally than as an oppressor. All right, folks, I really went over, but that's okay. This is important stuff. It'll change your life. Hey, Suzanne, how are you doing? Well, so good to see everyone. Bernadette, you're absolutely right. Bernard, you're absolutely sex magic. You know, it's one of the most taboo subjects in the occult. I'll just tell you right now, more confusion on sex magic than, and it's because of the ignorance that we lost. Hell, that's one of the things that you'll find out in magic. The sexuality is not intercourse. It's not coitus. You know, but anyway, that's for another time, another place. All right. Much love to everyone. Thank you. See you tomorrow for sure. And way to go. Happy birthday, Dad, by the way. Much love to you. And we will talk to everyone soon. All right. Bye-bye.